Welcome back to Crazy Cool Crochet, and in this project I am making another version of the pocket shawl. So in case you haven't seen, my first one that I made in brown is actually done with chunky yarn. Now the reason I wanted to make yet another version is because this one is going to be a bit different in that the pockets are going to be on the inside. Now the reason for that, and it's going to have a hood. So the whole purpose of this is because this pocket shawl is actually going to be warmer. And put your hands in the pockets from the inside and then wrap the shawl around yourself like you're giving yourself a hug. So it will keep you that much warmer. And of course the hood will make all the difference. The pattern itself will also be a little bit different from the original one. If you made the original and you think, oh, this is the same, I'll just go ahead and, or why make another one? This actually will have the body, we'll be using the same stitches, but it will be designed a bit different, again, for the warmth factor. And the border will be different. So the first version of my pocket shawl for beginners had just a tiny little border in just single crochets. So this border will be wider and it'll be a little bit more interesting. All in all, this is an entirely different pattern. I'm using the chunky yarn, and I happen to be using I Love This Chunky and Super Soft, and it really is super soft. The color is Red Velvet. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Now, before we get started, let me remind you, like I always do, watch the entire video all the way through before you start it. Oftentimes I will end up offering tips and suggestions along the way that you would have missed if you start working it before you watch the entire video. So go ahead and watch the whole thing first, and this way you know also what to expect. We are going to start with a chain of 40. Which I've already done, and if you need help with the beginning stitches, if you are really truly a beginner, I'm going to leave a little white box up above where you can go to the beginner tutorials, and it will show you how to start from the very beginning, and you'll learn the very basic stitches. Again, if you are a beginner, you might want to start with my other pocket shawl. That one is actually titled Pocket Shawl for Beginners. Easy pocket shawl for beginners. And on that one I do walk you through step by step, kind of slowly. I'm not doing that for this one. Okay, so if you need a beginner pocket shawl, go ahead and I'll leave another link for that one. You can start with that one first and learn your stitches that way. So for this one, I'm just going to go ahead and jump right in. Okay, so we're going to do a row of single crochets starting in the second chain from the hook. And you'll end up with 39 single crochets. Okay, I believe I forgot to mention the hook is an L or an 8mm. Okay, now the 39th was completed, chain 1 and turn, and we will do 5 more rows of single crochet starting with the first chain from the hook. First space, I should say, and then in each space across. So you'll end up with 39 single crochets again. Okay, here's the last one, 39, and you will have the 2 strands that make up that last chain there. That's how you know where to go in. 2 strands. And then chain 1, turn, and keep going. So we need a total of 6 rows of single crochets. So just repeat. We're at the end of the 6th row. So now we're going to chain 3 and turn. Now we're going to do a row of half doubles, and we're going to skip that first space and enter your half double into the next space. Go through all 3 loops chain 1, skip the next space, and a half double into the next space. 3 loops on the hook. You're going to go through all 3 loops for a half double, and then chain 1. So just do that all the way across. Skip a space, half double into the next, chain 1, skip a space, half double into the next. Okay, at the end of the row, you'll do your chain 1, skip that next space, enter the last half double into the turning chain. And then chain 3, and you will have 20 of these windows. And turn. So now we are going to do another row of half doubles, but this time we're going to enter the half double not into the spaces, but into the post below, the half double post. And you're going to enter into that little teeny tiny space right to the right of that post. See it? Okay, so go in there for a half double, chain 1, and then into the next post. Okay, so go all the way across, and you will end up with the 20 windows again. All right, we're at the end of that second row of the half double crochets. Again, 20 windows on each of the half double crochet rows. Chain 1 and turn. Now we're going to go back to the single crochets. So in the first space we're going to enter 1 single crochet, and then in the next space 2 single crochets. And each space across 2 single crochets until we get to the end. Now we're at the last space. We enter 1 single crochet, and then the last one into the turning chain. And you will have 39 single crochets again. And chain 1, turn, and now we'll do 5 rows of single crochet. 5 more, I should say. So that's going to be the pattern throughout. 6 rows of single crochet, 2 rows of the half double, 6 rows of single crochet, 2 rows of the half double, and we'll just keep right on going. So now we're at the end of that 6th row of the single crochets, chain 3. I'm just going to give you a tiny little refresher here. For the half double row, skip that first space, half double into the next. Chain 1, skip the next space, half double into the next. And keep going across. When you get to the end, you will chain 3, turn, and then you'll be entering into the posts. And that's the pattern. So just keep going. Okay, we would have continued in the pattern until you complete 118 rows, ending with the last single crochet row. So that would have been the 6th row of single crochet is row 118, and then we're going to tie it off. So I usually do 2 chains, leave a good sized tail about 5-6 inches long, and then cut it off. Pull the yarn through and then squeeze this down, and that will form a knot. Now we're going to start on the hood. So you want the right side of the panel facing you, facing up. Okay, so the way you determine which is the right side, typically it is the side where you started your foundation row. So there's the tail where you started. There's your foundation row. So this is the right side. Okay, so now turn the panel so that the long side is up, and I've already inserted my stitch markers, which for me it's just little pieces of a contrasting color yarn. And there's 3 of them. So there's one in the center of the panel. So my panel measured 56 inches long. So depending on your tension, that might be a little bit different for you. So just find your center and then attach some sort of a marker. And then we want the length of the hood to be 15 inches long. So then you'll determine half of 15. So it'll be 7.5 inches, and then attach another marker, and then 7.5 inches going in the other direction, and attach another marker. So this is how we will know where to start the hood and where to end it. Okay, so all you need to do now is insert your hook in that first stitch marker, the one furthest to the right. So insert the yarn with a chain. At that point you can get rid of your stitch marker and then single crochet into the same space. And then we're going to enter single crochets evenly spaced across the row until you reach the last stitch marker to the left. Now I avoid the big spaces where we had those windows. I avoid going into the space itself because that just makes a big gaping hole. So if possible, enter into that the chain above. Try to grab 2 strands and then do your single crochet. And then keep going across. Okay, when you get to your stitch marker, go ahead and remove it and chain 1, turn your work, and do 2 more rows of single crochet. So we're going to do the same pattern as we did for the body, but instead of doing 6 rows of single crochet, we're going to do 3 rows of single crochet and then the 2 rows of the half doubles, and then 3 rows single crochet, and repeat the pattern. When you get to the end of the second row, chain 1, turn, and do 1 more of the single crochets, and you do start in the first space. Okay, now we're going to continue with the half double crochets. Now, to be clear, the single crochet rows would have required an odd number of single crochets. So for me it turned out to be 31 single crochets, and you need the odd number so that the half double rows work out correctly. Okay, so an odd number of single crochets, 3 rows of those, and now chain 3, and we'll start our half double crochet row. If you recall, you skip the first space, enter your half double into the next space, and then chain 1, skip the next space, half double into the next space. I hope this is all coming back to you. Chain 1, and then continue across, just like before. And we'll be ending that first row of the half doubles with the last half double into the turning chain, and then chain 3 and turn. And now continue the same as we had on the panel, with the half doubles into the post, chain 1, half double into the next post, and continue across. So once again, at the end of this row of the half double crochets, the second row, you will enter your last half double into the turning chain, and chain 1 and turn. Okay, now to continue in the single crochet rows, In the first window, you enter 1 single crochet, and then in each window across, you will do 2 single crochets until you get to the end. Okay, so then if you recall, at the end of the row, you enter 1 single crochet into that last space, and then 1 into the turning chain. So no matter how many single crochets you had coming into the hood, as long as you started with an odd number, your half doubles would have worked out, and then your single crochets, you would do 1 in the first space, 2 in each space across, until the last one you would do 1 in the last, 1 in the turning chain, and you would have worked out the correct number of single crochets. So now just continue in this pattern, 3 rows of single crochet, 2 rows of half double. Okay, we have completed the hood, and we end with 28 total rows. And it does look crazy narrow, but we are going to add a border, so that will make it sizably wider. We are going to cut off the yarn at this point. We will close up the hood later after we put on the border. But what we want to do first is work on the border on the body. Okay, now we are on the right side of the panel. So the right side is facing up, and we are going to start the border at the corner. So there's the shoulder, there's the hood, and we are going to leave 2 inches open because we need to leave room for the border on the hood, which will attach to this border when we're working on the hood. Okay, so leaving the 2 inches open, attach the yarn, leave a tail, lock it in with the chain. Now we're going to do a half double in the same space. And then a half double as evenly spaced as possible all the way around. So again, be careful with those big spaces, the big window spaces. Go into the chain above it. Okay, so continue all the way around the border. When you get to a corner, enter 3 half doubles. 3 half doubles in the corner, and then continue across as evenly spaced as possible. When you get to the very end, if you're working ahead of me, remember when you get back to the other corner where the hood meets the body, to leave the 2 inches open. Okay, so finish 2 inches before you get to the corner. Now that we have done the row of half double crochets all the way around the border, and we met back at the other side, the other corner, and we're leaving the 2 inches open. So now we're going to chain 3. I'm sorry, chain 2. And turn. Okay, now we're going to do 2 rows of front post, back post. In case you've not done front post, back post before, yarn over. And we're still working on half doubles. And on the first one, it's going to be a front post half double. So all you do is yarn over, going around that post. around the half double crochet post so that you bring the hook back to the front. And then grab the yarn, pull it up for your 3 rows for the half double, 3 loops. Okay, now the back post, you yarn over, and this time you're going around the back of the work. So yarn over, come in from the back to the front. And then grab the yarn, pull it up. Try not to lose it. And then pull through to complete that half double. Okay, so let's do another front post. So it alternates, front post, back post, front post, back post. Okay, so now around the next post, we do a front post double crochet. Okay, so this time you go from the front to the back, around the post, back up to the front, grab the yarn, pull it through, complete the half double. Okay, now the back post, yarn over, go around the back, back to the front, back through the post to the back to grab the yarn, and it's going to come in from the back. Okay, front post for the next one, and then back post. Back, cross over that post, grab the yarn, pull it through the back, and then complete the half double. Okay, so hopefully you've got that. Now you're going to do that so you can see the ribbing is starting to form. We'll continue that all the way around. And believe me, once you get the hang of this, if you've not done it before, it goes pretty quickly. We'll be doing this row and then one more, and then we'll be done. And then we'll do the same border around the hood. Then we'll close up the hood, and then we'll do the pockets. Okay, I'm at the end of row 2, and my row ends with a back post. And then you end the row with a half double into the turning chain at the very, very end. Oh, half double. Okay, and then you chain 2, and then you'll turn and you'll do the last row, which I'll show you in a minute here. Okay, so now what we're going to do is turn and do our last row of the ribbed border. Okay, now what you do on that third row is the same as whatever the post is here. So this is a front post. So now you do another front post around that front post. So that means the next one was a back post, so you do a back post around the back post. Next one is a front post, so you do a front post, and then you just continue this along the entire border. Okay, now we are going to start the border on the hood, and we finished off that last row of the border for the body and tied it off. Finish with a half double in the turning chain and then tie it off. Now the border for the hood, we will also start on the wrong side. So this is the wrong side facing up now. Attach the yarn in the corner and then continue up. So you're doing the exact same thing that you did for the body. So I'm not going to show every bit of it. It's exactly the same as what you've already done. Then, after the third row, what we will do is attach the 2. The border will come up to here, and then we will seam right here. with a yarn needle. Okay, now what we are going to do is attach the hood to the body. So here is the corner. So this is the shoulder. This is the bottom of the hood. So as you can see, they line up perfectly. So all we're going to do is seam right here and right here. So take your yarn needle with the length of yarn, working on the wrong side. Just insert at the very bottom under 2 strands, and then the corner of the shoulder. Bring it through. I like to knot it for extra security. And then continue with the whip stitch. So there you go. That's all you do. Okay, so seam this way, tie it off. And of course do the other side. And then we'll seam the hood closed. Okay, this is looking really pretty. So the border is looking really nice. It's nice and substantial and thick, how I wanted it. The hood turned out really great. For the pockets, we start with a chain of 24, and then we start with the second chain from the hook with a single crochets all across for 23 single crochets. Then we chain 2, whoops, turn, and now we're going to do rows of half double. And we're going to start with the first space, and then half double in each space across. When we get to the end, chain 2, turn, and continue these half doubles. There's no chains, no skipping, it's just straight half doubles all the way across. And we will do that for 10 rows of half double. Then on rows 12 and 13, we're going to do the 2 rows of the half double crochet windows. And then after that, 2 more rows of plain half doubles. Okay, now for the pocket placement. This is where you can use your best judgment. However, the way this pocket shawl is designed is so that you put your hands into the pocket from the inside of the shawl. So this is the inside of the shawl. This is the wrong side. This is the right side of the pocket, facing up. Now it's angled oddly because when you put this on, your hands will naturally fit into the pocket if it's angled. If you've got it turned this way, then it's a little more awkward to put your hand in. You're supposed to be using this to basically hug yourself with it. With the traditional or the original or even my version of the pocket shawl with the pocket on the outside, then you have to have your arms out of the shawl to put your hands in the pockets. So if you're looking for warmth, this is the one to go with. If you want to keep your arms inside and nice and warm, and your hands in the pockets inside, this is the way to go. If you want to put the pocket on the outside, this absolutely can go on the outside. I'm going to do mine this way. All you're going to do is use a whip stitch with the yarn needle, and of course go around the three sides, the sides and the bottom. Okay, what I have done is created an alternative to the hood. I fully understand that a lot of people will not like that hood on the pocket shawl. I get the feeling though it's because of the red, that whole Little Red Riding Hood thing that's going on. So what I did was made an ear warmer or a headband, and it's got the same stitches as the border, and this started with a chain of 50, and then I did 1 row of single crochets, and then I came back with 1 row of half double crochets, so that would be 49 single crochets, and then chain 2 turn for 42, or for 49 half double crochets, and then you work in the front post, back post, front post, back post. That's for 2 rows of the front post, back post, and then a final row of single crochets in each stitch on top of the last front post, back post row. So you're back to your 49 single crochets. Super simple. And then you just whip stitch it closed on the wrong side, and you've got yourself a gorgeous little matching headband or ear warmer. Then what you would do with the pocket shawl is, rather than add the hood, if you don't want the hood, then you would do the rows for the border all the way across. Rather than stop short to leave room for the hood, you would just keep going across the row with the border. And that's it. So then you would have your pocket shawl with the inside pockets on both sides, of course. Or if you prefer, again, you could put these on the outside. So you've got quite a lot of options with this design. Okay, so go ahead, do your thing your way, and enjoy.